Hey guys, and welcome back to another Access Institute video. In today's video I'm back with another interview and I'm here with Amy Andrew. Amy, how are we?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you on the channel, thank you very much. And so am I right in saying you're a featherweight who's 2-0?
That's right, that's correct, yeah.
Great, okay, and so if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you're doing live here, and let's get straight into it. So, I'm going to start with the question which I always like to start off with. Why did you start boxing?
It was a bit random. I didn't really know too much about boxing. When I was younger, it wasn't really there weren't that many girls that took part in boxing. So I didn't actually start until I was a bit older, about 30.
Okay.
And basically, I was a journalist for about 10 years. And journalists spend a lot of time in the pub. So I used to do a lot of fitness and stuff like that when I was younger, but I was kind of falling out of doing sport and things. So I signed up to a marathon, I signed up to all sorts of different things, and nothing would, I did the marathon, but I didn't train for the marathon. Right. So I actually went to see AJ fight at the Olympics. I'd never really thought about boxing, and I just decided to sign up to a charity fight, and then I did, and then I got hooked, and then I left my job and became a boxer, and then very addictive. But that's the story.
Great stuff. And so, did you end up going or having much of an amateur career?
Yes, so I actually started off in white collar, so I had 3 white collar fights, and then just because there weren't that many girls that were taking part, I found out about an amateur club and found out that there were other girls that were doing it too. So I was actually inspired by this girl called Sherelle Brown, because I just kind of saw her around and I was like, oh, it's a woman. She teaches other women. So I went along to her club and just found out, kind of got involved with the amateurs. I did amateur for quite a few, and then I was at Haringey most of my amateur career. And absolutely loved it. Had about 55 fights, and then turned pro when COVID came.
Okay. And so, would you say that COVID was the kind of main reason why you did turn professional, or you just think that was the time for it?
I did always want to turn pro, but I think with my amateur career, I became national champion, English national champion, which is something that I always wanted to do. And then I boxed in New Zealand because my nationality is Kiwi and English. So I went to New Zealand and kind of worked my way up there as well. And then boxed internationally, which is incredible for experience and kind of working out, kind of getting in the ring with all different kinds of people and stuff. And then I made the New Zealand Olympic team and went along to the trials. Olympic trials. They were all a bit messed up because of COVID. So we were actually going to Wuhan to do the trials there, but then had to kind of turn around because that was when everything kicked off. And so I was not very well after that. And just the whole process was a bit messed up for me. But I guess for me, I reached, the very highest level that you can do in amateur boxing. And I just decided that I was ready to try a new challenge. The traveling and stuff is absolutely amazing, but also, it's nice to kind of settle down and try something new.
Yeah, definitely. And so kind of to go off you fighting in New Zealand and now you're fighting in England, what's the kind of differences between fighting in New Zealand and in England?
So I've always boxed in England, so that's where I started boxing. And my dad's English, my mom's from New Zealand. So I guess the big difference is I feel like when you box against different nationalities, there's such, all the stereotypes of those countries really shine through. Even though you kind of think like they're massive stereotypes, like the Germans can't box like Germans and the English can't box like the English, but they really do. And so I think the thing is about New Zealand, they're so on it. Everyone's so hardcore. But obviously rugby is a massive sport anyway in New Zealand, which women and men play, very high levels. And so I think already there's a different vibe when it comes to traditionally male sports, where a lot more women take part in them, and they kind of there was a much broader range of the types of women that took part in it initially. I know that's changed now in England as well, but everyone's just terrifying and on it. So there's less people, but they're all just quite aggressive and and then I guess in England it's much more technical. So I would say that, you know, obviously that the depth is huge when it comes to, you know, there's lots more people that take part in it. To get to a high level, you have to kind of really earn it, and it's much more technical and it's much more developed sport in England, so they're quite different, but it was fun doing both. So
definitely, that's very interesting. And so, well, so far on the professional side of things, you're doing very well, of course, undefeated. And so out of these two professional fights you've had, which one would you say you've performed your best in?
So I feel like both of those fights were developing fights for me. I think until after the second fight, I didn't realise the extent of the difference between amateur and pro. And so I started off doing a 6-rounder in my first fight, and that was just an incredible experience. Like, I absolutely loved it. I think every single second I was like in seventh heaven, just being in the ring and doing what I love, and like everyone coming to support me and things. And I think, I won it quite easily, but I think that looking back at my performance, I found it, you know, the things that I think I bring to the table, my aggression, my, you know, movement, things like that, that was all there. But it was kind of like I was scoring points as opposed to kind of like getting in, having a tear up, things like that. So my second fight was in Italy, which was really cool. I really love that, and I've always wanted to box in Italy as a pro. So for me, that was like an amazing experience, but it was something that I've always wanted to do. Whereas going forward, I've like taken the experience from that. I mean, I've been off for over a year, because I had baby. So so I had the baby in 2021, end of 2021. Oh no, one sec. I had the baby last year, and then I was pregnant. My last fight was 2021, end of 2021. So I haven't actually boxed for a little while. Been back in the gym since over my pregnancy, and then since having the baby, and I feel like I've worked on loads of stuff, and also I've got like the mum aggression. So hopefully all of that will come together, and then my next performance will be epic, and I'll be kind of where I want to be in terms of my style.
Definitely, great. And so, am I right in saying you've recently announced a kind of joining with Let's Go Management?
Yes, yeah. So I've just signed with Lee Eaton as my manager, and I think he's done some great things with some other boxers, particularly female boxers. I'm in it to win it. I want to box everyone and beat everyone. I mean, obviously, I just want to. At the moment, I'm focusing on my next fight. So even though I've got all these like plans and ideas and stuff like that, I've kind of parked them and just focusing on doing the best I can in my next fight and not really thinking about anything else. But in terms of like my career in boxing, I just want to win loads of stuff. So I feel like Lee Eaton's a good man for me because he's great at kind of getting people like Nina Smith. Nina Hughes, who's obviously world champion. He's done a great job with her. I really like, you know, I'm happy to take risks. I feel like I can box anyone, obviously after my first fight. So I'm really excited to kind of work with him and hopefully get to places that I want to get to.
Definitely. So, that's great. And so do you have a possible date of when you'll be back fighting here?
Yes, March 24th at York Hall. So my tickets arrived today. So that's very exciting. I've had lots of people, I think, who are really keen to either just support me because they're kind of excited that I'm kind of getting back in the ring and haven't been in the ring for a while, or ready to see me fail and flop after having the baby and being really rubbish. So one or the other, it will be exciting for everybody. I've had loads of support from people getting back in the ring. So hopefully lots of people will buy tickets. If anyone wants tickets, they're very welcome to buy them from me. But March 24th at York Hall.
Great. And I mean, what a great place to be fighting, York Hall. And so how much looking forward to are you fighting at a place like York Hall?
I literally can't wait. I'm so excited. It's one of the things that I love about boxing is preparing for a fight. So even though the actual fight itself can be a bit scary and, you know, you want to go in and like do really well and you have all these pressures and everything that comes with a fight, that for me is the reason that I get up and train. So I love sparring. It's my favorite thing to do in the world. I love training and all those things, but I wouldn't train as hard or spar as much if I didn't have a fight on the horizon. So I can't wait. I've actually boxed, my first white collar was at York Hall, and my first pro bout was at York Hall. So for me, it feels a bit like home. I feel comfortable there. I'm excited to do my thing. So yeah.
Definitely. Well, what a great kind of home it is to be. And so, for anybody who might be wanting to come and watch this fight, like you've mentioned, what would you say makes you interesting as a fighter?
Um, I think that, well, I'm incredibly aggressive, which is really good because I feel like I'm not an aggressive person, but that's only because all of my aggression goes out in boxing.
Yeah.
So that you can see that in the ring. That's one, and then two, I think my footwork. I like moving around a lot. Kind of using my range and things like that. So that's the plan. That's what I like doing.
Yes.
I don't know if that's what people like about me, but yeah.
No, two great attributes. And so, well, I mean, you've kind of mentioned that you've got plans for the future, and I mean, if you want to answer this question, how far do you believe you can go?
I feel like one of the reasons that I came back to boxing is because women's boxing at the moment is very, very exciting. There's a whole host of people that have come through that I was boxing in the amateurs, and I feel like I would just be missing out if I was not boxing and waiting and kind of watching them. So I'm definitely keen to kind of challenge all of those people at the top. I would like to go all the way, become world champion. But as I said, all of those things are kind of like pie in the sky because I just really want to perform and make people proud and make myself proud coming back to the ring 5 months after giving birth. And yeah, just making sure that I do myself proud and kind of do a good job. That's all I really care about at the moment. But yeah, like obviously looking forward, it would be great if I could do other things. But yeah, 100% eyes on March 24th and not thinking about beyond that at the moment.
Definitely. And so, I mean, you've kind of mentioned, especially recent in the last year, developments in women's boxing has come so far. And so, what's your kind of whole thoughts on that, and how far do you believe you can go?
Well, I think it's really exciting because people have stopped really calling it. It's starting to be phased out. People calling it women's boxing, which is good. Initially, that was really important because the few people that were taking part did need a push and did need to be kind of like the sport did need kind of a helping hand. But now I think that shows have sold out with headline fights being female fights. People are interested, in boxers who are female and male, and I think that's a massive, massive shift that people didn't really. No one could have expected that would happen a few years ago. Now, obviously, we're all kind of starting to think that, but people before were like, oh no, like I couldn't watch a girl box, and that was a really recent attitude towards women's boxing. So. Yeah, I think it's just a really exciting time to be in a sport when there's lots of amazing people coming through, some really good fights happening. And I think that's the thing is I just want to kind of be part of that and get involved in these fights and show off everyone's skills and have fun, basically.
Definitely, that's great. Okay, well, I'll leave with this final question, which you always like to ask. You've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
No, I just really, if anyone would like to come to my fight, I'd be absolutely thrilled. I would love to have as much support as I can. As I say, I'm really keen to kind of go all the way, but primarily want to have an amazing fight on the 24th of March. And so if anyone does want to come and support me, my Instagram is Amy Andrew Boxing, which is quite long, but it's my name and boxing. And you can buy tickets from me, and hopefully I'll put on an amazing show and it will be very exciting.
Definitely, that's great. Okay, well, thank you very much for doing this, and maybe a little bit further along down the line we can come back and do a return interview.
All right, lovely. Thank you so much for your time.
Great. And so if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do like the video, and thanks for watching.